Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, October 3, 2022. The agriculture sector is reporting more than $200 million worth of damage due to the recent passage of Tropical Storm Ian. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. gave the preliminary figures at the Jamaica Pig Farmers Association annual general meeting on Wednesday. Minister Charles Jr. says affected farmers will receive support once assessments have been completed.
We haven't gotten the breakdown, so we need to disaggregate that. But we are speedily moving ahead to complete those assessments so that we can put something forward and then to determine how best to give support to those persons that have been impacted.
Preliminary reports show that several farmers suffered losses due to flood waters. Minister Charles Jr. is urging investors to adopt resilient operations against shocks to help prevent losses.
This really reiterates the need for resilience. A lot of our farmers who implemented resilient operations, they're proud to say that they came out with less damage than expected.
In the meantime, additional markers will be placed along boundary lines to strengthen the protection of fish sanctuaries. 50 buoy markers worth $7,500 were handed over to the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries recently by the World Bank. The donation was delivered under the bank's Promoting Community-Based Climate Resilience in the Fisheries Sector project. Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Pernell Charles Jr. welcomed the markers during his recent visit to the Caribbean Coastal Area Management Foundation in Clarendon.
These markers will be used to support and to strengthen the NFA enforcement efforts. More specifically, they will impact illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing practices within the coastal areas.
According to Minister Charles, the markers will help promote good fishing and farming practices as well as reduce overharvesting. The benefit will also result in economic growth through the protection of the island's natural resources while safeguarding the income and livelihoods of fisherfolk. In other news, the upgrading of the Spanish Town Road water distribution pipeline will result in increased and reliable supply for residents and businesses. 24 kilometers of pipelines have been installed along the heavily trafficked corridor from 6 miles to Blake Road near the intersection with South Camp Road. Construction, which started in November 2020 by the National Water Commission, NWC, was completed in July this year. On Friday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness toured a section of the project in the vicinity of the Mother White Bridge on Spanish Town Road. Mr. Holness described the project as a nation-building investment, noting that the development should last upwards of 50 years.
Government decided to undertake a $2.4 billion investment in putting in new mains, and that included putting in new mains along the Mandela Highway and a new main running all the way along Spanish Town Road. And what we're seeing now is the completion of that, and that has the capability to bring in approximately 15 million gallons of water into Kingston and Central.
The Spanish Town Road potable water supply transmission main project is the largest single pipeline replacement activity undertaken locally since the Rio Cobre transmission main was replaced 10 years ago. The project is expected to reduce service disruptions, eliminate non-revenue water, and improve network flexibility to mitigate the effects of drought conditions in sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. Secondary distribution lines have been installed along both sides of Spanish Town Road to minimize the need for road excavations when providing future service connections. Jamaica will be leading a trade mission to Guyana as part of efforts to strengthen business linkages and trade between our two countries. The team, which is led by Investment Minister Senator Orvin Hill, left the island yesterday for the 6-day mission.
To explore collaborative business opportunities between our two countries with focus on agribusiness, infrastructure, and manufacturing. This mission is timely, as both Jamaica and Guyana are experiencing strong economic growth after the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The Ministries of Education and Justice will be partnering to provide restorative justice training to students at the Kingston Technical High School. Education Minister Favour Williams made the announcement during a tour of the institution earlier today. The school community is still reeling from last week's stabbing death of a student who was involved in an altercation with another. As she addressed students at their devotional service, Minister Williams said the ministry will be reaching out to families of the victim and the offender.
To help them with resolving conflicts and knowing when they're in a situation that needs to be de-escalated, helping to give them those skills that hopefully they will internalize and use, and they will take back into their homes and help to teach their parents how to interact better with them, so that when they show up at school, they're in a better frame of mind.
The Ministry of Education will also be taking additional steps to help parents understand the negative impacts of some of their actions on children. And finally, Governor General Sir Patrick Allen and Prime Minister Andrew Holness led a national memorial service in honor of the passing of the country's former head of state, Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom. Held yesterday at the St. Andrew Parish Church, the country's official memorial service was attended by custodies, other government ministers, and representatives from the opposition party. The Governor General led the Bible reading for the memorial service.
The souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and no torment will ever touch them.
Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more.
In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you?
Her Majesty the Queen, who is Great Britain's longest reigning monarch, died peacefully at her home in Scotland on September 8 at age 96. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.